Man, it's that old thing, perseverance, consistency, hard work. My goal is to put the same work into, my businesses, my family that I put into football. And I've been running with that mantra since I got married back in '97. That if I'm going to have a successful marriage, I got to, the same hard work and same consistency and discipline I had on the football field, I got to put in my marriage and with my kids and with my businesses and all that. So it teaches you a lot, man. How to deal with your fellow man and not look at his color, but look at what he can do for the overall good of what you're trying to accomplish. So sports to me in general is just an incredible deal when you talk about football specifically because of the closeness of guys. I just believe it's an amazing sport.
Welcome to another edition of Talking Ball with the Czar. I'm Emory Hunt, the Czar of the Playbook, on the campus at Stony Brook University with running backs coach Omar King. Coach, I appreciate you taking time.
Thank you, man. Good to have you.
Glad to be here, man. You're a New York guy through and through. You're from Queens. You played high school ball in Queens. You went out to Hofstra on the island. You coached at Iona. You coached at your high school. You're coaching here now. You coached at LIU Post.
Yeah.
So you're New York through and through.
New York guy, man.
So how good is the high school ball here? Because the one thing that I remember growing up is that all you heard was New York was a basketball place or a baseball town, but there's a lot of good football here. How good is football here on Island?
It's very good. I mean, Long Island has been good to us in this program. A lot of greats that came up through the programs at Hofstra University where I went to school at. The guys that came here, guys that I coached at Long Island Post, those guys. There's a lot of good talent. We did it all with homegrown talent. And then paired and mixed in with the guys from New York City. I mean, you got all the schools from across the country. They got guys coming in to pluck guys out of here, every which way. So the high school football is very good. We have good coaches. I think we do a good job as far as with the development and those kids trying to learn how to play the sport. I think the high school football has been pretty good here in this area.
You brought up the key word that's unique and it's huge, development. Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of basketball guys up here, right? And you walk everywhere up in this area, so guys are a little bit more lean. Down south where I'm from, guys are a little bit more girthy, right? Sure. And so how is that development taking place? Because you're getting guys that maybe are angular guys and developing them into stronger, bigger, stronger, faster guys, good linemen that are athletes. So how has that development taken place where you transform these guys coming from the city?
Right. Well, that's kind of been the model, where you take a guy and you kind of see the potential in them. If they have length, if they have some range in their body, you take them and just develop them in your weight room and in a college football program to go out there and, just feed them properly, you know what I mean? And really just get them in the weight room doing the weights correctly. And next thing you know, they just blow up. My whole thing growing up, I've seen it often. You would take a kid from New York City, right? Mm-hmm. And he'll be lanky or whatever it is, but he had a lot of athleticism. And when those guys would go to college, however they got there, walking on or a scholarship, they would go to college, and next thing they came back to Queens or wherever, and I'm like, who are you? Like the guy, turns into a beast. And, looking at that go on often and happen often, I was like, wow, this could be a model in recruiting where you can find, the right type of guy with the right length and build upon what he has already and just make it into what you need in your program. Next thing you know, you have a phenomenal athlete. So, it's cool. It's like a game really for a coach. It's kind of a game. Can you project into the future to see what a kid can be,
Now, I'm here because, one, we are one and the same. First of all, you're the first coach I've talked to that's about my height. So we both like 5'9.5", 5'10".
Oh, my God.
And so that means we played the running back position.
Sure.
You're running backs coach. You played it in college. You coached here, and you coached throughout your entire coaching tenure in the backfield. You coached the running backs, and it's unique because, when a lot of coaches try to go and coach other positions and outside of what they played, but you found something at that position. Yeah. Why have you decided to stick with the running back position, and what makes the position so special?
It's a great position because you have to do so many different things. When I was in college, they called us superbacks, and we had to run the football. We had to be able to catch the football. Sometimes we threw the football. We have to block, we have to know all the protections and stuff like that. So I thought it was a very unique position to stick with, and especially, growing up playing it, growing up watching guys like Walter Payton. I wanted to be Emmitt Smith. I love Warwick Dunn. Short in stature. You know what I mean? So I wanted to have that type of elusiveness, things like that. Those things kind of, resonated with me growing up. Wanting to just be a back, and just the lineage. I always teach my guys about the history of the position, some of the greats that played it. Jim Brown, things like that. Just that whole type of background, just falling in love with the position and what the position entails. It just made me stick with it, and subsequently, every job that I had, maybe aside from one. Every job I had, that's where they kind of stuck me, I guess. You know what I mean? But it's just having the knowledge for it, because I studied it so much and I had experience doing it, and it just helps me in my coaching.
Yeah, because a lot of times they say it takes one to know one.
Yeah.
And when running backs are going through certain things, you kind of can dive back in your experience, like, okay, I remember that being this and this being this, and maybe look for this and this and that.
Right.
So when you look at the position now, and it's funny because nowadays you hear people say, oh, the position is devalued, oh, you don't need a running back, you shouldn't draft a running back high. First of all, how silly is that statement? And second of all, why is this position so critical to your football team?
Me personally, I really feel like you have to run the football to win the football game. If I'm wrong, I don't know. But, unless you have Aaron Rodgers, right?
Right, exactly.
He showed off the other night. But you have to be able to run the football. Fortunately for me, everywhere I've been, it was imperative that you run the football. And I've been in some great programs that really tell you that this is what we're going to do. It's mandatory. This is what we're going to do. Get them trained and let's go. So I've been fortunate to be around, programs that, truly valued the running game and, poured into it, and which subsequently allows me to be successful, with the guys. And, I tell the kids all the time, you got to run with a chip on your shoulder. But, we know that ball could be in the air 1 second and you could get it picked off, whatever. But, you could run it down, 4 plus 4, 4 plus 4 is 8, 3rd and 2 is manageable. We could run it again. That's kind of been my philosophy in doing it. And, been successful, with all the kids that I've coached. Done a great job running football.
Obviously, not everyone can do it. It's a special position, and you have to be unique. You have to be able to protect the ball. You got to be able to, be consistent. You got to be in great shape. You got to be able to talk a little trash because obviously linebackers, they're not going to be all in your face, but you also have to have focus. But what do you look for at the position, and what's some non-negotiables that you have to have if you're going to play running back for you?
Yeah, just like any position, you're probably looking for speed. You're looking for guys, with some shake, some wiggle, some guys that can run behind their pads. That's what we try to get our guys to do here, run behind our pads and, have good vision. And just like the stuff I alluded to early, man, just being able to do a lot of different things, pass protection and, 100% you got to take care of the football. You can't be, fumbling around with the football, running the ball. So, you have to have some, certain intangibles. We look for guys here that maybe could change the field position. One run, split the defense up the middle. See the hole when the hole's open and really be able to hit it. Put a foot in the ground and get vertical, 0 to 60 in, less than a second. So, those are the type of things that we look for. A non-negotiable for me, honestly, is a guy that shies away from contact, man. You got to be very physical. Like I said, run behind our pads. We tell our kids here, I want you to hit with the crown of your shoulder pad. Get your head out of it. Make the defender half a man. Lower your shoulder and hit him with that pad. If it's just, one-on-one type of contact. And you always want to deliver the blow and not take it. Those are some of the things. And then, you know what? You have to have at least 1-2 moves. You know what I mean? Kind of change it up on them a little bit. But if you could do those things and, at the end of the day, gain yards, right? If you could do those things, I think you'll be, successful.
It's interesting because we played the position in the 90s, right? And so we've kind of like, I formation, 34 dive, and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
The position and the game has quietly evolved.
Right.
How have you seen the position evolve since you've been out of playing and into coaching over the course of your time as a college coach?
I think, back in the day, we had the protector. We had the fullback. You just follow the fullback. Now with the multiple zone schemes that you have to actually, know the alignment of the defender and which way the defender's moving, and you need to have a reaction off of that. You have to see the down lineman. Back in the day, we just followed the fullback and run through the hole that he chose. Now we have to choose the holes, and we have to be confident in that we're going in the right place. We have to be confident in what we see. So I think those type of things have changed. Really, the position hasn't, quite changed after that. Other than that, we still use pseudo fullback. So, a lot of things are still the same. But, just as far as the position, you're probably seeing more speed now. Those guys that can really, really get out on the edge and, be out, run those 4-4-40 type of deal, that's probably the change. Maybe you don't need as big of a guy, maybe a couple of shifty guys. A guy that could really run the zone scheme, run it up in there. It doesn't have to be a big guy anymore. They come in all shapes and sizes now, so that's probably the biggest difference.
Now, I won't get you into trouble on the internet, Coach, but when you look at this down the line, before you, it was Miguel Masonette.
Yeah.
I remember him still running on all over Syracuse. Then you got Stacey Bedell. You had Coker transferring. You got guys now, Leontine and also Goins. Is this running back you? Or why would someone, because let's say, okay, running back you of the FCS. How about that, right? Man. But when you look at this position at this university, 9 times out of 10, schools may have one premier player and they won't get one for a while, but you guys consistently get these guys in. How have you been able to identify and develop that position here, and how special of it is to be a running back here at Stony Brook?
Sure, we might hashtag that, running back you, man. But really, it goes back to our head coach Chuck Priori, old school wing T fullback. Back in the day, little short guy, you know what I mean? But with tons of heart, that guy. And, really is under his leadership, his vision. And as we talked about before, the run game being the forefront of this program, to be honest with you. Run game and defense, that's how we play here. And, just being able to find those type of guys that, fit, his expectations and what he really wants to do. It is endless, you know what I mean? With those guys, I think all those guys have unique traits within themselves. All those guys were different. Last year was probably a tough job. trying to juggle three.
Right.
It was tough, because you have three special talents, and they all had a little, carved a different niche in their game. And then when you look back in the day, the Masonettes, Brock Jakowski, Marcus Coker, you could go on and on with the top players that played here. This place has truly, has gained a reputation for tremendous running backs. I think one of the biggest things is me not messing them up. You know what I mean? I tell them, listen, man, don't mess that up, man, because, I don't have my resume ready for Home Depot. So, I try not to mess them up too much. But, really trying to, take what they do well and kind of make it work within our scheme and, kind of perfect it. They do it well, but it's my turn to perfect it. And then the things that they don't have in their toolbox, maybe allow me to add a little something here and there. But all those guys are, recruiting, I guess, recruiting the right person at the end of the day. That's what it boils down to. Recruiting the right person that can, handle what we try to do here.
Obviously coaching a long time and because we see guys tend to play ball and then they'll coach me for a year and then they'll leave and go do something else. Hell, I did it, but then it brings you back in.
Right.
Football, if you really love it, brings you back in somehow, some way. So the fact you've been coaching since you stopped playing, you love the game. What is it about the game that you love the most?
It's more the people, probably. Not probably. I know for a fact it was the people. Just being around the locker room and being around kids and helping them reach their potential and watching the process, watching them grow into what the potential is. That always resonated with me. I grew up, I was the youngest of three girls, and my mother was a Pentecostal preacher, and my sisters, they ran the family business of a beauty parlor.
Okay.
So I was the only boy, and I was like sitting around like, okay, and they got me a little TV in the beauty parlor, and I sit there and watch the games, and I watched old Syracuse, old Notre Dame, and then you hear the history of these programs, hear the history of these men playing the game, and that stuff it like nudged at me like I want to be like that. I want to be, a star, I want to be an NFL player, all that stuff. I wasn't that good, so that didn't, work out for me. But getting with these kids and helping them try to achieve their goals has been huge in, my reason why. And I could truly say my reason why has been the kids and what they do. And then honestly, you look back at the, X's and O's, the artistry of the game, the design of the game, the microcosm of life. You really have to earn a yard, earn 2 yards, go 100 yards to get a touchdown. You really have to, earn it. All that stuff resonated with me, and that's what kept me in the game for so long, because the constant thirst of, everything that it entails, it just made it very helpful in my life, how I raised my family too. So, and, I had great coaches growing up, man. I really, come from a good background of coaches that taught me how to be a man, taught me the game, what the game meant, what the game is about, and it kind of just pushed me to want to do it for somebody else.
It's interesting because I think I'm a lot like you. Growing up, it was all about watching those old NFL films.
Oh, yeah.
I used to drive my mom crazy with all the VHS tapes. I would record NFL films, right?
Oh,
sometimes
man.
record over her favorite soap operas or movies because I had to catch the new NFL films thing that was coming on late at night. And the stories of those guys and all that stuff kind of pulls you in, and you that was your soap opera.
Sure.
And then when you go through the process of playing the game and you realize, man, stuff that you applied in the classroom and in life, you learn from football.
Right.
And football definitely teaches you a lot of life lessons. What's the biggest lesson you think football taught you?
Really how to overcome adversity. and how to continue to push forward to achieve your goal. To be relentless in your feet to try to, be on top. It has also taught me how to be compassionate towards other people. And everybody's different, but everybody's trying to achieve the same goal, trying to win football games. Honestly, I think if our world was that way, we'd take notice to football. And, everybody's different, but we're all working together to try to win games, things like that, if you will. So I really think that that's what football taught me. It taught me how to be a better father. Because I have 100 kids,
right?
That I have to care for, and it's not how much you know, it's how much
care.
Yeah, how much you care. That's what they want to know. That's what the kids want to know. So I think that's kind of really, I really feel like I have to pour in the kids daily. You know what I mean? Even if it's a kid I don't talk to that much, if I could just say a couple of words, maybe I'll change his day. Those are the type of things that drive me in the game and make me feel happy at the end of the day. I like that about it, and football has done that for me. And, me trying to give back to the game, that's been really important.
Coach, remember a time when, you didn't see a lot of teams on television. You got a lot of everybody. That used to be the card everybody played. And hope we play on national television. Now everybody plays on television, some sort. And everybody's going to be seen. So that is off the table. Options are plentiful now for kids. A kid in California can know about Stony Brook and may be interested. But with all these options, why would a student athlete choose Stony Brook?
Sure. The best thing about Stony Brook, I tell everybody, especially when I'm on out recruiting, I tell the guys that you have opportunity to be the true you wherever when you come here. You could be who you want to be, and you could do it from Stony Brook University. We're very diverse. We're in Long Island, we're in Suffolk County, 60 miles east of New York City. There's everything here that you can imagine. There's so many different types of people. I tell them if they wear pink nail polish, you could be that here, and you can feel comfortable in your skin, and you'll meet people like you and meet people not like you, and that's what makes the networking and stuff like that very beneficial. But you could be who you want to be here, and you could play major Division I football in the best conference in the country, in the FCS, in my opinion. You have the opportunity to do that here, and honestly, you get to play in a big stadium. The things that we're doing as far as renovations and and the height, and really is more about the future than where we are now. This university was only established in like 1952 or something, so we're still a baby as far as the institution. We're not like the all 1800 types of universities, so we're still brand new. You know what I mean? And everything that's brand new is going to grow. A baby grows. So we're still growing. We're still marching forward. We have a lot of things going. And, another key point that I always talk about is the resources that we have for our student athletes, with the mental health. This is a big topic now, and we attacked it. The things that we have to do with, academically, all the tutors and the academic advisors that we have just for football. They don't work with any other sport, just for football. The things that we have in place, not things that we have to go get, the things that we have in place to help our student athletes. And, what we say here is together we will transform. We'll transform lives, we'll transform the world in some point, and we go far beyond. Those are the mottos of the university. You could do all of that here. You don't have to go anywhere else. And what better place than, right here on the Gold Coast of Long Island, minutes from the water. I mean, nice seafood and, South Shore of the beaches across the way, man. We have so much here that you can imagine. that you will want to be a part of. And, definitely with the growth of the university, what better thing to do than go to a school and be a part of something that's grown.
I mean, talk about the birthplace of Biz Markie, Rakim, and all the other good stuff like that. How you think I know that? But,
Oh, yeah, definitely, man.
but one running back to another coach, I appreciate you taking time. And
Man,
I'm
what a
glad
pleasure.
what you guys got going on here. Your run game, defense. Run game is what brought me here. You helped me stay here. I would totally play for you if I could. If I had a little bit more eligibility left, but obviously I don't. And I don't have any more talent left either. So. but we
You
wish you the
me,
best
man.
luck.
I can't do what these kids do right now.
Oh, no. I
tell them all the time, I cannot do what you do. Thank God for you.
Yeah.
Thank God that you could do what you could do, man. Do it now while you can do it. Because when you get old as me and them knees start to
Right.
I can't do that stuff. No
You know when the weather changed now.
I'll be watching the film, I'm like, oh! I'm like, man.
Better you than me.
Like, my favorite thing, I say, hey, protect your neck, bro. Protect your neck. It's crazy.
Coach, thank you for taking
thank
time.
you, man. Thank you for
Appreciate
coming
it.
by, man.
Oh, anytime.
You got it.